causing a 1-hour delay. Congestion persists on A57 westbound between junctions with A628 and M67. M25 clockwise between junction 29 and 30 in Thurrock sees 20 minutes of congestion. And on the trains, major disruptions affect East Midlands Railway and Grand Central services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year. We'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show we've got political commentator and author Emma Wolfe. She's going head-to-head with former Labour Party advisor Matthew Torbitz. We've got country singer Alan Tyler and social media influencer Dinusha Ilan Paruma. But first, let's go to the news.
Very good evening to you. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Aaron Armstrong. A schoolboy who stabbed another people to death on their lunch break has been found guilty of murder. Harvey Wilgoose was stabbed in the heart by another 15-year-old boy who'd brought a hunting knife to school. Sheffield Crown Court heard how other pupils fled in fear and panic after the fatal attack at All Saints Catholic High School in Sheffield on the 3rd of February. Well, the defendant, who can't be named because of his age, admitted manslaughter but denied murder, saying he snapped after a long period of bullying and does not remember the incident. Well, the jury found him guilty of murder by a majority of 11-1 after 14 hours of deliberation. Germany says it's suspending military exports to Israel in response to Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to take control of Gaza City. The proposal, which would displace around 1 million residents, is being seen as the first phase of a full takeover of the entire strip. Sir Keir Starmer says it will only bring more bloodshed, labelling it wrong and urging the Israeli government to reconsider. The plan has received widespread international condemnation, although it has not been opposed by the White House. During a meeting with the US Vice President at his residence in Kent, the Foreign Secretary David Lammy said the situation there is of great concern.
What we all want to see is a ceasefire. What we all want to see are the hostages come out. And we are hugely concerned by the humanitarian suffering that we're seeing in Gaza particularly. So it is bringing that to an end that we want to see. I am concerned about what is developing in Gaza at this time and the recent decision by the cabinet, and hugely concerned, as I think a lot of Israeli people are, about the impact, particularly on the hostages.
An investigation into allegations South Yorkshire police officers took part in historical sexual exploitation in Rotherham will now be carried out by the National Crime Agency. The allegations were being investigated by the force itself, leading to criticism over a potential conflict of interest. 5 women have come forward to say they were exploited by grooming gangs in the town when they were children, and they say they were also abused sexually by police officers. So far, 3 former officers who worked for the force have been arrested. The police watchdog, has said transferring the investigation may provide further reassurance to victim survivors. A 4-year-old boy has died after being hit by a bus outside a hospital in Kent. Police were called to the collision outside the Queen Elizabeth Queen Mother Hospital in Ramsgate just after 4 p.m. yesterday. The boy was hit by a white single-decker bus near the entrance to the A&E department. He was taken inside, where he was pronounced dead shortly after. Police are urging anyone with relevant information to come forward. Police are bracing themselves for potential disorder amid fresh anti-immigration protests and counter-protests across the country. Officers are attending demonstrations outside hotels housing asylum seekers in at least 12 towns and cities this evening, including this one in Aldershot. Restrictions are in place at a number of locations, including Norwich and Nuneaton. Police urging communities to carefully consider the information they read, share and trust from online sources, warning that the spread of disinformation and misinformation can significantly contribute to community tension. And a yellow heat health alert has been issued across much of England for the start of next week. The warning issued by the UK Health Security Agency covers London, Yorkshire and the Humber, East Midlands, East of England, South East and South West. It will be in place from midday on Monday until 6 o'clock on Wednesday. Significant impact across health and social care services may occur over the period. Those are your headlines. I'll be back with more at 8 o'clock.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield, and on tonight's show, he's back, the nicest left in the corner. It's too nice to be a lefty, but it's Matthew Torbit. Thanks, Matthew, for coming back on, and the very beautiful Emma Wolfe, broadcaster and political commentator and author and all sorts of things, aren't you?
All sorts.
All sorts of things. And a prolific winner of the yes or no quiz. But this week, we've seen the start, Matthew, of a new policy by the party that you love and cherish, the Labour Party. They've decided to implement this one-in, one-out policy of migrants coming over the channel. And the beauty of this scheme is, here's the killer, we actually pay for it. Is this scheme going to work?
It's a good question. We'll have to wait and see. That's as simple as it is. I think the closest I could find to a similar scheme was one that the EU and Turkey made in 2016 from people that were fleeing Syria. And at that point, Turkey were allowing people to go into the EU. You had hundreds of thousands of people a week passing through. Nobody knew who they were. When the scheme came in as a one-in, one-out, it was expensive, but it cut the numbers to hundreds a month. However, the problems with that is they were hoping to scale it up.
Come on, Matthew, a bit more enthusiasm. This is a pathetic attempt, really.
No, I'm not here to
defend this scheme.
No, I'm trying to offer some context. And the problem with that scheme,
the context you're giving, Matthew, you're saying if they were fleeing Syria, these people are fleeing France. France is not at war.
No, I'm just talking about one-in, one-out schemes and how it is used to tackle numbers, potentially. So it did. The problem they found, because it was too expensive, they didn't scale up in the way that we also apparently want to scale up. I have huge issues with it. The fact that, yes, we are paying for it, whether you're taking them either to France or here. Obviously, the idea that people, if they put a human rights claim in, is going to cause a backlog. I think the government, and I beg the government, needs to start looking at things like offshore processing to appeal to both sides of their base.
Matthew, Emma's shaking her head here.
I'm not surprised.
She's frothing. She's almost, there's like froth coming out of the corner of her mouth. She's wanting to have a go back now. That was a pretty weak attempt by Matthew to defend this pot. He's a lovely bloke, but come on.
All credit to Matthew. He's clinging on to his lefty fingernails by his fingernails. Look, can we start with the facts? We are on track for a record high number of migrants this year. 25,000, more than that. 25,000 this year that we know of. That is up 49% on the same time last year. So Labour are in trouble. That was one of their key pledges. This one in, one out is a complete and utter joke. In what way will it deter illegal migration? It's a safe and legal route. People apply online. They can apply if they've got their... Even the government seem to be in utter confusion. Did you see Lisa Nandy the other day saying, oh, but don't worry, they'll be able to have their asylum claims, their human rights claims heard in France? Everyone was like, is that true? Is that not true? Yeah. It's not going to deter illegal migration in any way. In fact, it'll have the unintended consequence. It'll have the other consequence, which is people, the people traffickers, who are breaking the law, piling more people onto flimsy vessels and shipping them over here. This is a joke. And the other thing, which people don't know, and I'm glad you've mentioned, we are paying for it. Britain is picking up the tab. This is the joke. We're picking up the tab, whether they, for both directions of travel. So we pay for the transport of the migrants that we send back to France, but we're also paying for those that we bring in.
Matthew, you're a former advisor to the Labour Party. Please tell me, is there somebody who lies awake in number 10 each night, who, after probably a skinful of this, thinking up of silly ideas to roll out the following day? Because this, I mean, the feedback I'm getting in my constituency and in my inbox is people are just furious with this nonsense. It's another plan that's going to cost tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of pounds, which won't work.
No, listen, I don't disagree. I don't think there is somebody that thinks up, you know, daft things.
Well, there is.
No, I think it screams of desperation more than anything. The legislation is poorly worded. It's not really fit. It's not worth the paper it's written on. I think actually the bigger issue, yes, we're paying for it. Listen, if it worked, I wouldn't mind paying for it. The likelihood is it probably won't. The bigger issue for me is that France and other EU countries have an automatic veto if they don't want to receive the people we're going to send back. So how does that work? That we have to accept what we get, but if we go, well, actually, we want to send... Oh, no, we're not having them ones back. No, you have to send us some different ones back. So that's a bigger concern for me, that we're not going to be able to send back the people we want to, and therefore, where does that leave?
But of course, and there's nobody from the Labour government here to defend this, so I'll just say this because I have to, but they'll probably argue that this will be a huge deterrent and will help smash the gangs.
I want to ask Matthew a simple question. How does this safe and legal route, one in, one out... And by the way, Lee, do you know what the British people actually want? None in, all out.
All out.
At the moment, they need none in. One in, one out. By the way, I think this is going to deport-ish 50 people a week. That was the plan, which is 17 in, one out.
Emma, let me stop you there.
It's a total joke. But how does it deter
just
illegals?
For argument's sake, just say we managed to deport 50 illegals this week.
A week.
This week alone, OK?
Yeah.
What's stopping those illegals jumping back on a dinghy tomorrow?
Also, what's stopping them appealing? Also, 50 a week, and we've got 25,000 just this year. So do the maths on that.
Yeah, do the maths, Matthew.
You could argue potentially.
He's going to defend this now.
How many came over yesterday?
Yeah, well, 100.
There is a slight deterrence in that you may be one of the 17. That's it. But your odds are looking fairly favourable, really, aren't they, if you're coming across? The boats appear to be getting...
Why can't, though, Matthew? We've had this now for nigh on 4 years. Boris said he was going to smash the gangs, then Liz did, then Rishi did, and Keir said... well, they didn't say they were going to smash the gangs. They said they were going to stop the small boat crisis. It's getting worse and worse every year. And everything they try and do is tinkering around the edges. The great British public knows that every single silly plan that the government's come out with is not going to work. The only thing that's going to work is a deterrent, and that is if you detain people as soon as they get here and they deport them immediately. That's the only thing that will work.
Well, I'd argue, actually, you want to stop them even crossing, let alone detaining them, and that's why I think what the Prime Minister should be doing is sort of to try and take the fight to reform, is to say, right, I'm calling an extraordinary summit, because the 51 Convention, which is on asylum seekers, says the only legal way to apply to be an asylum seeker is to be in the country. If you are truly a real asylum seeker, Afghanistan, Ukraine, somewhere like that, you can't get a flight, so you probably are coming via irregular means. If he said, look, this is a Europe-wide issue, we're all being affected, we need to look at this convention, and if we have processing points where you can go to the British Embassy in your country, we know who you are, nobody's dying in the Channel, but from a security point of view, we know who you are and whether you're truly an asylum seeker. If you're crossing on a boat, that is an instant deportation.
This government are treating the British public like idiots, aren't they?
Treating them like idiots, and also we're so obviously a welcoming soft touch. I mean, why are numbers up 49% on last year? I would say it's almost as though the people traffickers welcomed. Do you remember Labour getting in? Do you remember July the 4th, that dark day?
Yeah.
It's almost like they rubbed their hands and thought, bingo.
Dinghy sales went through the roof that day.
Dinghy sales went through the roof and they thought bullseye. And since then, numbers have climbed and climbed. We are nearly at 50,000, just small boat crossings since Keir Starmer came in. I don't know how, Matthew, you can defend any of this. We're in a total mess.
Matthew, some of these people that's come over are going on to commit awful crimes. But now we see Yvette Cooper actually saying that the police should be more transparent with the identity of these people who are committing these awful crimes. Why have they changed their mind?
Panic. Again, panic. They can see the trend where the country is going. There's deep distrust in the country of both sort of the political establishment and those that seem to be one rule for one rule for another. We saw how quickly the incident in Liverpool at the parade, how quickly the people were to say, no, it's a white male, to try and quell any tensions. But the reverse isn't always the same case if it isn't a white male. So I think it's panic. I think it's aiming to seem more trustworthy. I think it isn't going to really matter.
Emma, you're a woman. If sex attacks are going off in your community, you want to know what the attackers look like, don't you?
Yeah, Lee, and I live very close to the Thistle Hotel in Clerkenwell, which is one of the flashpoints. We've had a lot of protests around the country, which weirdly the mainstream media have not been covering. I think they're scared of, inflaming the situation. But there is a lot of unrest and unhappiness around the country. We've seen these protests every weekend for weeks now. Yep. So I was talking to people outside the Thistle, lovely, mostly white, but all colours actually, working class people that live in the area. Yeah. And what they are saying is, we're not racist, we're not anti-immigrant, we don't feel safe in our communities. Our communities in the past few months, and certainly in the past year, have changed out of all recognition. An old grandma saying that she didn't feel that her granddaughters could play out in the playgrounds, in the splash pad. They couldn't run around in their swimming costumes. And do you know why? Because I'm not going to say who, people were filming them, people were watching them. It's changing the nature of people's local communities. And Labour can keep ignoring that. They can keep branding people anti-immigrant, unpleasant, far-right, whatever they say. This is how British people are feeling.
Matthew, do you think some of these politicians in Parliament, where I work, actually understand that people are genuinely scared?
No.
Do they get it?
Well, no, I'd say most politicians don't. They spend a lot of time in Westminster because that is what the demands of them, and therefore I don't think they spend enough time in their communities listening to what people are saying.
And when you see mothers and grandmothers wearing pink and literally standing, the Britannia in Canary Wharf, another hotel that's been housing asylum seekers, asylum seekers being moved in at 2, 3 in the morning under cover of darkness. They're literally women out on the streets holding a British flag, which I would applaud, saying, this is about our communities, we don't feel safe, our daughters don't feel safe. How is that anything other than legal, fair protest?
But of course, Matthew, it's going to get worse and worse this year. As Emma said, record numbers coming across the Channel. It's going to be even more by the end of the year. The crimes are going to go through the roof. I think the Telegraph did an article just this week about how many hundreds of crimes have been committed by the people living in these hotels. Goodness knows how many is being committed by the people living in the HMOs as well, because that's a big problem, especially in places like Ashfield.
Yeah, and I think, this comes back to my point. You have to process people before they get here, and we have to know who they are. By the way, the treaty with the French say that we're not allowed that data, but they are. This is the problem. I don't think it's going to touch the site.
Well, there, guys, we had a little bit of an agreement there between Emma and Matthew. As always, Matthew was a complete gentleman. You were a little bit feisty, Emma, weren't you, Betty? That's the way it goes. Coming up next, we've got Real World, Real People with the Rocking Birds frontman, Alan Tyler. Do not go away.
to know what's really going on in the corridors of power. Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's time for real people from the real world. I've got the Rocking Birds frontman, Alan Tyler. Welcome to the show, your first time.
Nice to meet you.
You're a author, singer, songwriter.
That's right.
And a guitarist and just country legend. But you've got this book here, and it says How to Never Have a Hit. Now, that might seem like common sense to a lot of aspiring musicians, but to me, it doesn't make sense. What's all this about?
Well, I'm a big Hank Williams fan, and I came across this little book that he wrote. It was called How to Write Country and Folk Songs to Sell, a little pamphlet to sell to his fans. And it just gave me the idea of if Hank Williams can write a song about how to write hits, I might write a song about how to never.
Well, of course, he wrote some huge hits, didn't he? I mean, he wrote hits that were bigger hits for other people as well, like Jerry Lee Lewis.
That's right.
Back in the 50s, I think.
I mean, also he bought some of his songs off other people.
Well. Yeah, I think
it was a lot of horse trading in songs.
I'm trying to think of the Jerry Lee Lewis song. I think it was "You Win Again." I think it was that one. It was a million seller for Jerry Lee, and I think one of the Elvis songs was Four Switches High. I know my music stuff.
You know more than me.
From back in the day. But it says on my notes, which I was reading, Alan, that you have played Glastonbury 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, I've had some wonderful times at Glastonbury, and they've been very nice to me, the Eavis family, over the years. Since 1992, I've been there I think it's nine times, including one sort of like birthday party for Michael Eavis. Obviously, it's changed. It's kind of got more corporate, and it's a bit more. It's much more. It used to be sort of for the outsiders, you know, the subculture. But now it's very sort of establishment, and so you've got the BBC all over it, and so on. But it's just the way it goes, isn't it? I mean, that's how everything's sort of like the people who were the left-wing outsiders are now the sort of insiders, aren't they? And that's sort of replicated everywhere.
There is a division in music, isn't there? There is we always tend to think that the musicians, the writers, are left-leaning in politics, but there's more and more of the musicians now coming out on sort of my side of politics and actually putting their head up.
Well, I haven't come across many of him. No. I mean, I would count myself as sort of like possibly one of those. I don't know who you're referring to. I always think though that there's the great herd of like the music industry, which tends to be sort of left wing and even more so. But if you actually look at the people at the top, it's like there's many sort of rock and roll legends. I mean, you've got Morrissey, who's generally reviled. You know, you've got Oasis, who are sort of like more working class grafters, who sort of like have a little snipe at woke. But I mean, if you look at Bowie, Lou Reed was very, very sort of pro-freedom, anti-communist sort of guy. Iggy Pop, Johnny Rotten, Marquis Smith from The Fly. I can reel off a long list. So some of the most interesting, sort of like singular, really sort of out there and sort of like.
I suppose for some of them, though,
didn't go along with left wing or.
It depends how much money they've got in their pocket as well. Because I can remember back in the 70s when I think some musicians actually left this country, didn't they? Because the high rate of income tax they were paying on their earnings. Yeah. Rolling Stones, I think they went away for a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, you would do though, wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Why would you stay if the tax is 83%? Yeah.
But you've done a bit songwriting and done a song on Brexit, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wrote on my last album, which is called Made in Middlesex.
Is that where you're from?
That's where I'm from. That's me and my mum outside my mum's house.
Yeah, very nice.
In Middlesex, where she still lives and where I live half the time as well.
Yeah.
I was quite troubled, in the sort of like around the sort of Brexit time. I didn't actually vote for Brexit, but I mean, I had a bet on it. And I thought it was going to happen.
So you had a bet on it, and voted against it?
Yeah, I did. But once the vote was decided on, I thought, well, yeah, let's stick. I was quite sort of on the knife edge what I wanted to, because I also write about how I was in the civil service. I wasn't, stopped making money, so I worked in the civil service, and I worked in the sort of EU-facing, worked with EU bureaucrats and stuff, and just saw what they were doing, and wasn't impressed at all, you know.
So you're one of them people responsible for trying to block everything, was you?
Well, I wasn't high up to have up enough to have any influence, really.
Well, you've got some influence now, Alan, because you've got your guitar there. You're going to pick that up and sing us this song about Brexit.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody's dying to hear it.
Well, it's not about, as I say, it's not about Brexit. It's kind of a song. I had the idea, like, with all the division that Brexit caused and all the sort of like unhappiness and aggro generally. I just thought it'd be nice to sort of write a song that kind of expressed the sort of hopes and dreams, perhaps, of sort of Brexiteers that, your Remainers might.
Well, you've
be
got
able
2 minutes to knock this song
identify.
out, and could possibly be a Christmas #1.
Who knows? Home for us should be a land that's fit for winners and for losers. Home for heroes and for villains. All us beggars can't be choosers. All cannot be joined together. Only closer bring things near. When we roar, if we whisper, each should have a voice to hear. Not for us some overreaching, brave new blinding future scheme. You can keep your revolution. Brick by brick, we'll build our dream. Know your dragon slaying monsters poison our abundant land. Plans to root out all the evils, serve to turn the soil to sand. Oh, we are England, we are Scotland, we are not just anywheres. We are Wales and Northern Ireland, London, Newry, Swansea, Ayr, Glasgow, Neath to Luton, Leicester. Give your best and take a share. We are here and all we want is somewhere better, somewhere fair. Somewhere fair.
I think we can all agree on that, Alan. That was a beautiful song. Thanks for coming on the show. I think that was brilliant, mate. That was really, really good. But coming up next, we've got right versus left.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening. An area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it'll be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend. Some heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the day. That's then clearing Northern Ireland. It's pushing into parts of northwest England, and it tends to trundle its way southwards, albeit slowly, before setting up shop across North Wales, northern England during the morning, and it basically stops there, with outbreaks of rain becoming more limited to drizzle over hills. It's a damp picture through North Wales and northern England. To the south of that, plenty of sunshine, mid-20s, feeling very warm indeed. It's going to turn hotter here over the next few days. To the north, it stays mixed with further showers for Scotland. And that's really the theme into Sunday as well. The north and west of Scotland seeing cloudy spells and some showers, not quite as heavy or as frequent as Saturday. Actually, a lot of fine and bright weather for Scotland on Sunday. Likewise for Northern Ireland, but the real heat is across England and Wales, where it turns increasingly hot into early next week. Temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s in places.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
please bring us up to date.
Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's time for Right versus Left with Matthew and Emma. So, Matthew, you've got to do your best now to defend the Labour government on this next issue. I know it's a little bit difficult, but just this week we've seen the homelessness minister turf out, allegedly, I think it was reported in the iPaper, turf out 4 tenants and then hike the rent up by £700 per month for this property. How is that going to solve the homelessness problem in this country of ours?
Well, it's not, is it? I mean, you know, you say do my best to defend. I can't sit here as someone that rough slept as a teenager and say this is okay. I think what Rushanara Ali, the minister, would say is that she wasn't really the landlord. It was given to a tenants management organisation or whatever, lettings agency. They were in charge of selling it. They couldn't, therefore they've put it back out for above the market rent. To me, it's not good enough. I think surely if you're selling the property, why are you not allowing the tenants to live there until it's sold, if they're not buying it, giving them enough time and space to do so? I don't think she needs the money on 94 grand a year. And I think just for the optics alone, you're the homelessness minister, you're a landlord to not 1 but 2 properties, and you're turfing people out.
So, Emma, the homelessness minister has made 4 people homeless. Do you think she knows what her job is?
Look, she's not the Queen, she's not the Prime Minister, she's the homelessness minister. She knows what's going on. I mean, it's nice of Matthew to say, look, it was probably being managed by a lettings agency and tenant management agency and all of that. She would have been aware of this. There is no way, she doesn't have 10 properties as far as I know. She could have been fair and, you know, accommodating with her tenants. She doesn't need to try and squeeze every penny out of them. There is a massive issue of homelessness in this country. And as you say, she's on £94,000 a year. I think this is extremely unkind and definitely some questions to answer.
Actually, sorry, that's probably wrong. She's probably on more as a minister, obviously.
No, she'll be. She'll get another 25 grand a year. The Renters Reform Act, which would have stopped this, wouldn't it? Once it becomes an act of Parliament.
Yes, because I think I'm right in remembering that if you kick people out essentially to put a property up for sale, you cannot put it back on the rental market for about 12 months. I know there are people looking at amendments to that. I hope one of them isn't the current Minister for Homelessness. However, it wouldn't fly under the Labour's new legislation.
So the timing is extremely interesting. Why has she done this now?
Yeah, well, we spoke earlier, guys. I want just to change the subject very, very slightly. I spoke earlier, Matthew, about somebody lying awake at night in number 10, thinking of silly ideas to roll out to the country. Well, we've had another one this week where I think Angela Rayner has decided that it's OK to build houses on allotments. Emma, you're shaking your head. You're furious. The foam is back. What do you think of
Absolutely.
this?
Well, it's very, very rare that I agree with Jeremy Corbyn on anything. But on this one, Jeremy Corbyn, absolutely spot on. The joy of digging in the soil, the joy of growing your own. Do you know what? 1 in 8 people in the UK don't have access to a garden. 1 in 5 in London don't have access to a garden. That's people with children, people with no outdoor space, no gardens. There's a waiting list of 100,000 people for allotments in this country. Allotments are simple. You know what? If I was a Labour minister, if I was the Prime Minister, I would give every citizen an allotment. That would solve so many of the issues that we are facing. The war on obesity, the fact that children are indoors addicted to screens, the fact that people have got ADHD and anxiety. Allotments are such a simple pleasure. We want people to eat healthily. We want them to be more active. We want them to get out and about. We want to grow our own. We want to be net zero. This solves everything. And what have we got? Angela Rayner, who is, well, how vindictive and mean and anti-joy to be building over people's allotments.
Well, I wish you wouldn't sit on the fence so much on this one, Emma.
Speechless.
But think about it, Matthew.
Let people grow their carrots.
One of our regulars on this show, Emma, Matthew, which is Emma's good mucker, is Stephen Pound. I mean, he's getting on a bit. I think he's an octogenarian or above. He might be watching this. He loves his allotment. I think he sits in his shed smoking his pipe and making his jam. Wouldn't it be ironic, Matthew, if he was turfed off his allotment by this Labour government and some houses put there?
Yeah, no, it'd be quite sad. I think Angela Rayner would no doubt say we need the land, we're building houses. I think Emma raised some good points in the sense of it feels very much playing into the narrative of all joy is evaporating from things in the UK. And I actually think another thing, I can't remember if Emma touched on it, on the litany of things that allotments play a part in, but I think a lot of men use allotments. And when we talk about male loneliness and communities evaporating, the community within allotments and those that greet one another, it's a great way to get out because it's not good sort of for your physical health, digging up and doing whatever else. The mental health, I love gardening and stuff.
But of course, Matthew, Emma, I mean, the Labour government not here to defend themselves. I'm just thinking about Ofcom here. And they will say that they need some of this land to build houses to solve the homelessness crisis. Meanwhile, we've got ministers making their tenants homeless.
Hold on, we have a mental and physical health crisis. Obesity is the #1 killer. We want people to be out and about. We want people to be growing the food. The joy of your first homegrown tomato, your first homegrown
Can you remember your first homegrown tomato, Matthew? Can you remember?
Your crop of strawberries.
It's filling up. It's actually filling up.
I know. I feel really emotional. I can't believe they're doing this. We would all love an allotment, wouldn't we?
Let's ask Matthew.
Just somewhere to potter.
Have you ever eaten food you've grown yourself?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've lived with somebody who's grown food that I've eaten. I've not grown it.
Or like pick your own. You've done raspberries. Even that is.
Do you know what we used to do with my nan? Me and my nan, she used to do like berry pies in the summer. And you'd go
blackberries.
Blackberries and all the rest of it. You'd go home, wash them, clean them, and then she'd make pies out of it. So technically, I suppose, that.
What about you, Emma? Have you?
Absolutely, tastes so much better. Yeah, I've got tomatoes on the balcony because I'm in London, don't have a garden. But even pick your own as a child.
Are all these tomatoes much fresher because of the ULEZ scheme?
They taste so. Yeah, well, they taste so good, and honestly, I think this would solve pretty much every single one of the health crises that we have in this country. I cannot believe Angela Rayner. She wants to pull up the ladder. If she's had any fun, if she's had a council house, she wants to just benefit from it all and pull up the ladder.
Pull up the ladder.
I don't think she does, but my sort of limited knowledge on the housing market is there's loads of brownfield land that you could be using. And actually, having read a report in the Times today that house building is down because the interest rates and whatever else, there's so much land you could use that isn't...
And we seem to have enough houses for 1 million people net migration each year, don't we?
Well, if we're going to need a hell of a lot more than that, one, because of the migration, but I've said from the off, it's very nice to have a target, but we're not going to build 1.5 million.
But allotments in my neck of the woods, people are crying out for allotments. They always are.
It's always been that way, I think, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Since I was a kid, there's been a waiting list for
that waiting list, 100,000, but there are loads more of us who would love to get an allotment.
Yeah, well, of course,
I'm going to go find Jeremy Corbyn's allotment near me in Islington. I'm going to go find his allotment and grow my own something.
Dear. Don't start me on Jeremy Corbyn. He's not here to defend himself either, but we are trying to get him on the show. That'll be a first, won't it?
I'll have a word with him if you want,
get him and George Galloway on together. It's time for the yes or no quiz, guys. And Matthew, you've done this before. Emma's a real champion at this.
Seasoned pro.
She only ever beat Stephen Pound, though, which is not...
I've beaten Stadlen.
Yeah, OK, you did, yeah. You did, I remember that one. So the first question is Islamophobia real?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to challenge you both on that one at the end of it. Should illegal migrants, Matthew, be living in hotels?
No.
No.
Agreement again. Should illegal migrants who commit crimes be deported?
Yes.
Matthew?
Yeah.
Agreement again. Should we leave the ECHR?
Yes.
No.
The left out coming out. And will one in, one out work, Matthew?
No.
No.
It's a draw, and I can go with that because they was quite testing questions. But the one, number one question actually, is Islamophobia real? I'm going to push back on both of you. I don't think there is such a thing as Islamophobia. I think it's a made-up word by politicians, normally Labour politicians, to help them save their city seats, so the big Labour seats. I think they're scared of the Muslim vote, and they use this word all the time to keep their little jobs safe, Matthew.
Well, they're not here to answer that, obviously. I believe it's a thing, and I understand why a definition is being drawn up, and having spoken to the minister that's doing it, the idea is it's not about Muslims per se, it's about protecting people, and we don't...
But we already have them laws.
No, there's a difference.
We have hate law. We have hate laws in this country.
We do. We have hate laws, but obviously we have a definition for things like anti-Semitism and the IRA definition of that. Nobody, other than real cranks, balk at the idea of that. And I think having a defined
but anti-Semitism is a hatred towards a race of people. This is a religion. Islam is a religion.
Well, I don't know. Judaism is actually one of those that goes over race.
There's many would disagree with you on that one.
Well, they can, yeah, that's fine.
Emma, you want to come in on this one?
Well, no.
Not normally we disagree, by the way.
No, and I'm actually coming around more to your way of thinking. I don't like this new definitions of Islamophobia being drawn up, all of that. I don't think that's necessary. I think we know what we mean when we talk about certain people who are racist, who are anti-foreigners, of whatever. They're anti-people of certain skin colours. They are anti-people who come from certain countries. But no, this endless obsession with Islamophobia, I think, is being used by the government to sort of defend certain practices and defend the fact that the country is being filled and overwhelmed with people of foreign cultures. And
it's a slippery slope, though, Matthew, surely.
It is, but I think we need to be very clear that this isn't to say that you can't criticise somebody's religion. It's when you're...
But is it, though?
Yeah, listen, we don't have blasphemy laws in this country and haven't done for some time if you want to do certain things. And I think that's actually where some Muslims have to also, lean back a little bit, because if somebody... It may be the worst thing in their world if somebody is to draw cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, but unfortunately we live in a free and fair society where religion, the same as anything else, can be mocked.
And I don't know why we have to feel apologetic and feel so kind of bad about defending our way of life and our culture. Surely that's what people are coming to Britain for.
Yeah, surely
that doesn't make
you
Islamophobic.
If you want to come to our country, surely there's a reason you want to be here, Matthew, and that is to embrace our way of life, our history, our heritage, our culture and our way of life.
Yeah, I mean, but culture shifts over time. You know, Spain was a Muslim country 500 years ago. You wouldn't believe it today. And I think, you know, we also shouldn't be too fearful of differences potentially in this country. Which
Guys, it was a draw. But coming up next, we've got Last Orders with Burns victim and blogger Dinusha Ilan-Paruma. Do not go away.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and the weather across southern Europe is looking pretty dry for most places, albeit a bit of rain is pushing across Madeira. Meanwhile, for Spain, Portugal and even France, the heat is continuing to build, so temperatures for some could be getting into the high 30s, maybe even low 40s through the weekend. Meanwhile, across parts of Italy, Greece, even into Turkey, lots of dry and hot weather here, and that's how the outlook is looking as well, staying largely sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now.
That sounds like Last Orders at the bar. I've got the very lovely Dinusha Ilan-Paruma. Did I get that right, Dinusha?
Got that right.
Got that right. So you're a blogger.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot about scars on bodies and injuries and stuff like that because about 10 years ago, you was a very foolish young lady.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
You was drunk, walking back from a party with a group of friends, as we do at that age. And what happened to you?
So, obviously, had a party, and then I went to get. I was like walking on the edge of the tracks. And
What tracks? Train tracks?
Train tracks.
Train tracks.
And I stupidly had my heels fall on the tracks. I went to stupidly go get it, and then by the time I got back up, I got electrocuted, and started from my foot actually, and it went all through my body. It just started sparking out of different places of my body, and ended up with scars, and somehow ended up with my left arm on the side of the tracks. I'm not sure exactly how I was positioned. I don't remember that part because obviously.
So how did you get off the tracks?
Obviously, I had to wait for the ambulance, and I had to wait for the lights to be turned off throughout the whole town because they wouldn't be able to get me otherwise.
So a bit gruesome being electrocuted. There must have been bits of your body burning, bits of your flesh.
A lot of people in that little town could smell the burn, and I actually could smell it for weeks after because I couldn't get the smell out of my hair because obviously it gets stuck to your hair.
What about your back as well? You've got a scar on your back.
Yeah, so that's the bit I always wondered how I ended up there.
Let's have a look.
It's...
Can you show it to the camera?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is where, like, the biggest scars are probably my back and obviously my arm. But yeah, I got skin graft on my left thigh and stuck it onto different places.
So you're a parent as well now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got a little boy, he's 7.
Yeah.
And obviously in another, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years' time, he's going to be going out
I know.
with his friends.
Yeah.
And you're going to be worrying, aren't you?
I know. Hopefully he doesn't drink next to a train track next time.
So what sort of lessons have you learnt from that?
I think I've learnt that, like, well, one thing is I grew up in Italy, half of my childhood, so the tracks were always on, not the tracks, but the electricity was always at the overhead.
Yeah.
So I never knew that, so it was quite normal for people to cross, like, tracks out there. So that is one thing I've learned, that obviously in the UK they don't do it like that. Yeah. But I would rather they drink in my house and I know where they're at, or if they're at, like, someone's house, I want to make sure that the parents are aware that they're going to be just inside.
They're not going to want to be drinking in the house with mummy though, are they? Not?
Well, if I put some music, I don't know, you never know. Hopefully they don't.
Or maybe just tell him your story, which
I already
I'm sure you
started
have.
to. Yeah, I've already
tell
started
his friends your story, but you do a bit of blogging as well, don't you, where you tell your story. How does that pan out?
I think it helps a lot of people because a lot of, like, young kids didn't know about it, and one of the videos that I posted a couple of years ago went viral, and people used it for assemblies in school to, I guess, like, teach young kids not to do that, because not many kids are aware of the dangers. I mean, I didn't. So hopefully it just helps, even if it's one person, it helps.
You see, you've educated me today, because I didn't realise that some of the normal tracks were electrified in the middle.
Yeah.
I know they are on the underground, but you know, in my neck of the woods, the electrification is normally overhead. You see the cables, a bit like a dodgem car at the fairground. That's how they sort of work. But did you not think when you was crossing the train track?
No, I didn't. I mean, I was, like I said, I was 15 and I lived in Italy a couple of years before that, so it was quite like a normal thing there. I learned that lesson on that day. But yeah, it made me who I am, and I do feel like I went through a lot, but, like, I'm so confident in my body and myself now, where I wasn't when I was growing up at that age.
So apart from blogging then and educating people, what else are you up to?
Just being a mum. Just being a mum, and just hopefully one day I can teach my kids not to do that and teach their friends. And
right, we've got you behind the bar, Danusha. You got to get a pint pot, one of the coloured ones there, look.
Yeah, this one.
Yep, one of them.
Yeah.
Got the old neck oil here. Are you a drinker? Been known to? Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
You wouldn't covered in scars, would you?
Well, I know my limits now, guys.
Yeah. So you got 30 seconds to pull the perfect
Someone told me to hold it like this. So.
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay, am I doing it all right?
Well, good action. There's a good action there. Go on. That's it. It's nearly to the top. Put that on the bar. And that is pathetic. Yeah, you can put that on the bar. It's rubbish.
Do you actually think? I thought that was quite good for my first time.
It's awful.
Thanks.
So put it on the bar, please.
Yep.
So obviously you're a blogger, a bit of a internet whiz. You've got lots of followers. You're on Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah, mostly.
What's your handle on there, Instagram?
Danusha XO.
Okay. How many followers have you got?
I got about 90k, I want to say.
Is that good?
I don't know.
I don't know, 'cause I don't know. I do Twitter, X, as they call it now, and I do Facebook quite a bit. I'm on Instagram, but I don't know how to use it because I'm old. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? What sort of career are you looking for?
So I see myself hopefully writing a book. I want to talk about a lot more, hopefully going forward, and educate young people about a lot of things that I went through as a child. Whether it's to do with my accident and other things that I went through. I'd like to definitely do that and hopefully write a book by the end of it.
Excellent. So I want to find out a little bit more about you now. You can always know a little bit more about somebody or judge somebody. You shouldn't judge anybody really, but you can do by by the company they keep as well, friends, who they choose to go out with, etc. If you was to host a dinner party tonight and you were to invite 3 guests, famous guests, past or present, who would it be?
Famous guest?
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus. I'm a big Miley Cyrus fan. Miley Cyrus.
Who's that? Is she neighbours?
No. No, but do you know Hannah Montana? No. Okay. So Hannah Montana, she done a TV program for kids.
Okay, so
I've always been obsessed with her, and I still love her until today. So definitely her. And then I don't know. I'm trying to.
One more, past or present?
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, I know Justin Bieber, I know what that is. So come on, aspirations, dreams, you know, for your little boy. What's his name, your boy?
So my little boy, he's 7. He's called Leo, and yeah, he was born really premature, so he's another one that inspires me.
Yeah.
And obviously I had him quite young as well, so he taught me a lot as well. As a first-time parent, I went through a lot with him as well. Like, he was one of the smallest babies in the UK, so...
How many weeks was he?
He was born at 25 weeks.
That must have been a
it was,
worrying time for you.
Yeah, it was really scary because I didn't even look pregnant. I looked really small, so it makes sense when he came out how small he was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how's he doing at school?
He's doing all right, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's getting there.
Okay. Aisha, I'm looking at that pint.
Are you going to drink it, or is it just too...
I don't know what to do with it.
Looks too horrible.
There's probably half a pint there. If you served that in a pub, you'd probably get sacked the first day. I would stick to your blogging, stick to your storytelling, stick to being a good parent, and hopefully get you back on this show again.
Yeah.
That's Danusha Elam Paruma.
Got it right.
Last orders, got it right then. Thanks for joining me on Lee Anderson's Real World. Coming up next, we've got Friday Night with Matt Goodwin.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening, an area of low pressure